You could say they actually are working together with different, how you say it, holograms, symbols, images. They all unite together to make one thing. You know, a good way that they look at it is the guy from Dianetics. He called it an engram. So it's like information stored. It would look like an entity or a holographic shadow being, but in it is sound, light, motion, emotion, everything to give you a journey, including a portal to go there. It's actually what we call a portal or gateway, but it will look like a being, similar like how, you know, you would go to any place from the medieval days and you see there's some type of gatekeeper at the entrance for you to get in. And once you get in, sometimes it just turns into a whole nother mystical world. So that world, that when you open it up, you're going back into what's called your primordial self. Your primordial self is the houses or the different lives the soul had encountered. The soul is eternal, it always will and always was, but itself had to come down and incarnate on the earth. So you got to look at what we call, you know, human beings or us on the whole, is in the air itself, wishing that it could have human form, smelling the airs and the aroma, hearing the dramas and the pain, smelling the bloodshed and the burning and everything, wanting to be physical. So we are a part of that part of it. As the soul itself carnates now, it gives us life, where when you become conscious into this matter, the soul itself now become unconscious. It get buried into matter. The soul is of a different substance. It's not even of a substance of ether. It's, you know, I can't tell you the substance right now. I'm still studying it. But in it now is everything that you ever wanted and been housed every life. You as a creature, you before as a white person, you as a Polynesian, you as a tribal person, you as a slave, you as a king, you as every life, everything you lived over, which can be summoned up through hypnosis and doing post-regression memory things. So those is all active inside what's called your subconscious. And like I said, those engrams, or what we call now symbols, or what they say is archetypes, those is all the same thing for just an image. Like say a ankh. When you look at the ankh to you, they're going to say, oh, it's the symbol of life. But inside your subconscious, it activates something from its past experiences with the ankh. And that's what it was set to do, as a memory. Everything that you see that's a symbol, such as McDonald's, Texaco, all their symbols, is set to do something to you through programming. The actual program is sub-symbols, or what we call engrams, hidden inside commercials and your TV shows. While you're watching the TV, being entertained on the conscious mind, and your subconscious is being fed different sounds, different engrams, different images. So a lot of people learn to not watch actual TV and commercials and everything, because it's a lot of what you say, information being implanted into you. So it's implanted thoughts, implanted information, implanted to go to McDonald's, planned to go to Wendy's, planned to go to Walmart. You understand? So in our normal self, we wouldn't do this. We'd be in a feminine principle state of mind, not an analytical state of mind. And being in the feminine principle state, you would have been more creative. You would try to create more than actually submit to the corporate enterprise and their monopoly. And that's what happened to a lot of mama and papa stores. Well, I don't really want to get off the subject, because we're talking about the subconscious here. And that's the next part, you know, or what we would call the soul body. And I mean the ethereal body. And in the subconscious now, you're looking at the skull. Its position on you is inside the head. That's why you see a lot of people got images in the cathedrals as the shape of the skull itself, the interior of the skull, where there's 4 compartments. And you got to realize that it's very real. When you die, a lot of people don't understand. You're not going to have memories of what happened. Think about this. When you die, you're not going to have the nervous system to move physical arms, physical legs. What happened is that traveling astral body, that it goes when you go to sleep, it goes and what its actual job is to get rid of your bad thoughts. Say somebody owed you money or you're upset about something. When you go to sleep, you wake up refreshed, because the astral body went and dropped off all your negativeness as sheath energies. These sheath beings look like demons, and then brought back fresh new energy while you sleep. So now you wake up, you forget about that person who owed you, that person who disrespected you, and you start actually a new day, anew. So the astral body is actually responsible for making you forget. And so it's important to know that when you go under meditation, you in your astral body, and as soon as you come out of it, you're going to forget everything you did in your meditation. The same thing when you go have your dreams, you're going to forget everything in your dreams because you're in the astral body, and it's made to forget. It's a short-term memory bank to travel to the soul. So now, being that you have to forget, if you don't ponder on your dreams when you come out of your dreams, it's like you forget. But there's certain dreams that stick with you because they more like actual event, like post-traumatic stress event that sticks in your subconscious, like somebody whipped you with a stick and you woke up feeling the pain and you see the scars. So those type of things we always remember. Those are the dreams that you remember now. But there's also the dreams that you don't remember, which is from your subconscious mind, which is now the astral traveling in the ethereal body. And those now is what you're trying to unite with. So when you do crazy things, flip out when you're actually drunk or get angry and you become this other person. What's up, man? And all of this now is those hidden sides of you, the splits in your personality, the things that causes you to actually be two different people. Your ego come and take over. You wear a mask. You're not yourself no more, and you go deeper and deeper into this not you, putting up walls. So when you do all of this now, you create a different you. One of those beings that's inside your sheath have to take over. You get caught in what your consciousness would be seen as a wormhole, and there's a gatekeeper in between, so your consciousness can't see nothing else until you come and confront the gatekeeper, which is your own self, another you. You look in the mirror and you stare hard into the white of your eyes, and you will see your faces flash, and you will see the different yous, and you will confront the one that is actually the one who had the split or the trauma that is still inside of you as a shadow being. So all of these is what you see when you go into the astral body. And if you don't ponder on your thoughts when you come out, you will forget, just like your dreams. If you don't ponder on them, lay there for a minute, you will forget. But they're very important because they're the true you. That side of you is the side that is responsible for you when you're dead, the afterlife. Speaking of the afterlife, when you astral travel, it's like there is a difference between that and you could say soul travel. You have soul traveling is when you go in, like in the underworld, the Tuat, like how you see the Egyptians with all the pictures with Set, Anubis. They're in a place. When you see them on the boat, they're not actually here. They're in a dark place, which is called the underworld. The underworld is also depicted too in medieval pictures and Renaissance pictures and the Byzantine pictures. When you see all those people on the clouds with the angels, those is not angels. Those is actually the underworld beings. They just make them looking like kind of white. They put the thing to it, but originally would have been gargoyle and serpent-looking beings, animal face-looking beings, all type of creatures, but they put the human face to it to throw people off, to make people think that there's angels like that. The ones that's angels, they don't have wings. It's the glow that they have, but they're just like a physical form, a human form, that just have a great radiance about them. You understand? And you're not going to see angels too often because we got it twisted with how everything works. You see, what we're inside, when I told you we're in the soul, is that the soul itself is a demon. Now, this is important for you to understand. The demon that we think is a demon was put here by the Catholic Church and the church peoples. There was never no such thing as a demon in the negative sense. Look at a circle, the yin and yang symbol is half black, half white. Just like in our day, 24 hours, you have half night, half day. So it will be malevolent and benevolent. So it's good and bad. It's perfectly cut even. But we now only crave for the good, and then we add morals to it to make us like the British or another culture. So we kind of fucked up and psychologically messed up and not following the order of nature, which has half and half. You're good and bad. You have two sides to you. This is all what the lessons they're trying to teach you in the astral. And by you uniting your hemispheres of your brain, you be balanced. You think just with the both sides. Not too to the left, not to the right. Look at it like if your heart is too open and you're too nice, people is going to take advantage of you. So you closing up your heart is not actually you being mean. It's actually you learning how to help the right people, how to assert yourself, who to say and no to, because you couldn't say no all the time and people used you for that. So it serves its purpose, and you have to learn how to unite yourself with it and make yourself balanced. Synchronicity of energies. So when you're going out into meditation, and I was just saying, hold on, I didn't want to cut it from there. I was saying now, say you pass away, those features that you have in your nervous system that controls by your brain, the your hand movement, your leg movement, they automatically shut down that you forget. You don't even have no sense that you ever had it. So now what happened? Your astral body comes to your ethereal mind. The ethereal world is symbolism. The subconscious now comes back to life. The beast, the actual soul, that creature. And so everything is inside the soul. It's like why they say the shapeshifter, the reptilian, because it has every life that is consumed is inside of it. Your memories, everything is in there. The soul also now is the actual true light, because it actually is the one ray of light you look into. For us, we're seeing the demiurge, or what we call white light, which is the sun, Ra, Murdoch, Enlil, who was punished and put in there for a reason, but it's not actually the real light. That's why you see pyramids that is in all over the world. They're symbolizing to break light. But the pyramids is set on ley lines, energy grids, so they could have break the light for you, so you could see the rainbow, the different parts of the spectrum. So it will be like you wouldn't have to astral project. You would have seen them actually here if everything was there. The capstone is there, and it was resonating at the frequency of the sun. But being that we lost that, we are our own prism now, our own pyramid. And so through our eyes, you could actually bend the white light and see those different dimensions. Those different dimensions is different parts of you. This is the story of the Anunnakis that gave us our genetics, that gave us the physical features of who we are. The physical look comes from the draconian reptilian bloodline, and that's the first primordial. That's why everything on this earth looked like a dinosaur head. Everything is shaped like a dinosaur head. You see the cat, the dog, the lizard, everything has that particular shaped head. Us too. Our skull got that same particular shaped head. As coincidental as we have a reptilian brain and a mammalian brain. So all of these is not coincidental. These go back to our primordial selves. There's nothing that was created that got destroyed and something get recreated. Everything that got created gets something add on to it. It evolved it, and to make you now the conscious being. This is important because we didn't just have, you could say, us as how we look as Africans as we are now, conscious people that knew right or wrong. They have everything categorized. This is how the European standard of measurements is done as far as anthropology. They had a period where that beginning period of time, it was just only people that had digging tools. When they only had digging tools, they call that the savagery period, because they dug out the ground and ate off the trees, mostly fruits and berries. They didn't evolve consciously too much. So now when that period came over was when they realized pottery came in, clay pots started coming in. They went from digging tools to making weapons such as spears and swords. This is called the barbarian period. It's actually just like any other epoch or period. And so that's what makes up a barbarian, the fact that he only could cook and he had weapons to fight and take over land. Those is the primitive first peoples that was here. And so when civilization came was the people who took the digging tools, the weapons, and the pots and pans and transcended it to make what's called a culture. And these cultures now started writing, reading, music, poetry, and that's what they call civilization. So I just want you to know the difference, that within one culture you have all three. And within Irish you have the savage, you have the barbarian, and you have the civilized. Within Africans you had the savage, you had the barbarian, you had the civilized. Every culture, the German had it, barbarian, civilized. So you can't say we're the savages and you can't say they're the barbarian. It goes to a period in time. If you go back to when there was no pottery, like I said, then you're in savagery time. You understand? And when you go into a time when they had just spears and weapons, shields and pottery, you're in barbarian time. It goes for any color, any race. So I just wanted you to understand how that works. And that's how you would know when you're going into astral projection and you go into these meditations and you go to these places, you understand what time period you're in. Now, it's important to understand what time period, right? Let me see, did I cover everything that we was talking about now? Oh yeah, the last thing I was saying, because I know I skip around a lot. I'm trying to stick to what I was saying. It's like now when the body has morphed off and you die off and you don't have a physical body anymore, your mind, which is what you really are, it links to the astral body, head and body, and now you have a body again. But you have no consciousness of your past. You don't have no consciousness of any of the things you did. Only thing that go with you is your ego. The ego is the only permanent you that is forever, that goes beyond everything. That's what's called your consciousness, your I. That's why you're I am. That's where it comes from. So your ego is that ultimate, but your ego got a whole bunch of sheaths over it. A whole bunch of demons is riding you on your shoulder, on your back, on your neck, in your throat, on every part of you, because it don't want you to know that who you are. So that's why you're so elusive within yourself, because you got these other egos, these splits. And let me explain to you the importance of the splits. Why you have to perfect your splits in this world is because if you die, you're going to have a ghost image to you. You're not going to be a whole body. You're going to look dismembered, pieces missing. That's what a split is. It takes a part of you out of you and it separates and be its own entity. And so you have to nurse your splits and bring them back yourself to the whole. So you want to be a bright shining light, just an all bright light when you die, not a split up a bunch of different sheath bodies of zombies, which is what all of us is right now. Nobody's excluded from a split unless you healed yourself and integrated your splits to the soul, because the soul is the one that is the controller of the splits. It align them back and make you understand. If you didn't know about it, you have many splits. Splits has been recognized in CIA. They the ones who started with the mind control programs and all that stuff. They started the MK Ultra programs and started bringing splits to everyone's awareness. And splits don't last long. It's like a compartmentalization of your soul and splitting into many pieces. Your soul is infinite, so it could split into as many pieces as it needs for it to survive. It also adapts to anything. So your soul is what's called melanin. It's actually the Spider-Man suit that could adapt to anything and can't die. And it's indestructible. So it's also considered Godzilla too. And you see Godzilla, how he get big. His spine is the chakra or the spikes on his back. It charges up and he's indestructible. The more he gets charged up, the stronger he be. And it shows you the adaptability of your soul. Your soul, as no matter how many weapons they drop on him, it just made him better. And so that was what happened with the black people. The black people had the most melanin, so they was the most adaptable people in society, meaning the first to come out from inside the earth when the earth cooled and spirits cooled and calcified to be what we call human. So the first beings was to come out was actually the dark-skinned, dark black people. This goes back to ancient history where they tell you Venus was not in our solar system and the Earth was one planet closer to the sun. This would render everybody on the Earth blacker or darker skin, a thick, non-glock looking, shining skin. And this is where you get your purple indigos who survived that calamity that took place or whatever with Venus and made Earth one planet back which now rendered another race or another group of people to have to come in. And they was now a different shade because of the earth vibratorial forces that existed. So everybody had to come and reorganize. And so you have different people now that is, everybody's trying to leave the earth. Everybody's trying to get back to where they came from. And so that's what's going on. But us as the original indigenous people, we have the ability to leave our body because who we here are part of is the earth and the universe and the gods and the stars and everything. So we actually have multiple us in one body, and we're supposed to be learning how to use them. That's the initiation. That's meditation. That's what's called thrice born, to relive again. You can't die. All of these is the immortality of the soul, but you have to learn it through this initiation. So astral projecting is a deep science. It's not just this. You know, when we going into this now on this level, you're talking about activating DNAs, activating cells. Astral projection is actually the world of cells. You're going through the rings. Everything is about rings. When you're flying through astral projection and you think you're in dark space, just like right now as you're walking through rings. You can't see them. There's nothing here like how they lie to you and tell you you're in a wave, you're in some material, you're in a substance, but this substance is not liquid in the sense where we're saying it's magnetic and it's receptive to photon rays, light. And in these light, it's got rings and circles in it, and you're traveling through these circles. That's why they have the movie The Lord of the Rings. If you could figure out how to see rings out your eyes, you will understand what's going on. Look at a cell. Look at any bacteria. Everything is a cell. Look at your skin. It's circles. It's cell. Look at your eyeball. It's cells. Look in the clouds. All you see is eyes pop up because everything is a cell. Look at, hold on, this right. What do you think this is? That's a cell. That's it right here. Look, when it's at its smallest, it's the circle. And as it gets bigger, it's still the circle, but it forms an eye. That's the first thing you're going to see when you go into the astral. That's what John said he's seeing in Revelation, the eye. You see how it still forms an eye? But it forms the circle. This circle right here is what's here. It's a billion, quadrillion of them, and they come and they interact together. You're inside the circle. In there, that's where you're at, in there. As much as it looks clear and obtuse, it's not. It's just that you can't see it. But these circles is crisscrossing all over. You exist in between two of them where you find the eye at. It's like a circle and a half a circle in between, like the almanila or the figure 8. You're inside the between spots. Not this circle, not this circle. You exist in the between spot. That's why we have eyes. Everything is an eye. The eye of a hurricane, the eye of everything. And that's how that works. This is other higher learning that teaches you how to use this light now to activate your genetics. Because everything is photon. And everything is Anunnaki. Anunnaki is light. So let me get out of here. This has been a long video, but I just wanted you to know what the philosophy of astral projection is and actually what remote viewing is. Everything I just told you is not remote viewing. Everything I just told you is soul traveling and astral projection, the science, the theory, and what happens. Remote viewing is when you use your mind. You have a desire to go someplace, and by thought of it and meditating on it and wanting it, your soul is active, or in what's called the demion, the demon that runs this dimension. He's the one who takes you there. You can't fly. You sit still, and everything comes to you. But when you remote view and astral project, you can fly. It's a difference. You go in two time, but in meditation, time comes to you. So when you're doing that, it takes a little bit of imagination because it's formation. You're in a cloud and you have to shape it like clay to the situation that you want to go experience. Once you're able to do that, I have that desire in you, that imagination, that intention, that the demion comes and take you there and make it real. For y'all to understand the demion, let me give you a quick reference. And I will post everything and put them in catalog so you can see where to go actually look for this information. But when you talk about Jesus and his birth, and then the Magi's coming to see him, the reason why is because the Magi's is astrologers, and they knew that it was the end of a yuga. Everything is really ran by, like how the Sanskrit says, by these gods. You got Kali and another one, and another one. I forgot their name at this present moment, but they last for thousands of years, millions of years. Each one is a different yuga. It's a cycle around Cyrus. And so each one have a demon that is the ruler of a yuga. So a yuga is what you're in. You're in a yuga, full consciousness, full body. And so when Jesus was born was the start of a new yuga. It was a new demon that lasts for the whole yuga. That's why you can't get rid of that name, that image in the subconscious, because he's the demon that ruled over. That's why they said he was controller of all the demons and he went down to hell and all that shit. So you got to understand what you're going to see. When you go in the astral world, you're going to see him. He overshadows it in the background. He's here right now in the background like a ghost, very thin image. And you also got Lilith and Samuel kissing. It's two men and woman, half and half. Everything is in half and half. And you have to wait till they finish and open up from kissing for you to see through. All of these are secret sciences that y'all don't get, that they put in symbols and images of the past, that today we just jumping around into this astral world and flying, don't know nothing what's going on. But actually, the way it was done back in the days, when you reach a certain level of intellect, you had what's called coming a case of melancholy. This case of melancholy would have been an initiation to go meet your soul. And then you get pulled into the underworld because you never knew about these stuff. You would go crazy seeing things from the past, Tiamat, dragons, all this shit happened, and you would have lost your mind. So they call it the Kundalini awakening. If you don't know how everything is one, you will believe that this is this is that. It's a synchronicity of everything. That's not where you get the Egyptian coming in, who had the masters of the astral projection, masters of the Kundalini. That's why they wore the snake. And then the Indians came and took the philosophy and took it out of like a demonic state, a heresy of tantric old yoga, of sexual energy and mad sex and all this stuff, to make it into a religion, Buddha. From Buddha taking it now, Buddha made up all these other parts to it, where you get Mithra, Dionysus. All of those is the same African as Zeus, and which is the same as the Egyptians, as the Persians. All of them was actually just the part to let you know of the different worlds of the astral world and the governance of it, which each one being a different god. So if you don't know the whole system, it will confuse you, but everybody got synchronicity in this one system. Anyway, I'm getting tired and hungry. I'm about to go eat. University of Conscious Science. One love.